Okay, so I had to put the rear cage support bars in order to locate this bar. This bar is what I intend on having the shocks mounted to. Oh, hey folks, welcome back to KEI Fabrication. While I got the camera pointed in this direction, does anybody know whose door and quarter panel that was? There's at least 4 drivers that I'm aware of. Leave your guesses in the comments below. Alright, it's time to play what's in the box. Let's see what came in for the old number 7 modified. The reason why I'm opening this is I'm sure I know what it is, and what I'm working on over there requires one of these. So I bought these because it's a generic shock, it's off the shelf, and I bought all 4 the same size for the modified, and there it is. So there's the fully extended length, and the goal is to use these shocks on all 4 corners. The rules specifically state that the shocks on these vintage modifieds can't be adjustable and have to be steel bodied, so on and so forth. So this car never even considered having coilovers or anything adjustable, so they can't have any external adjustments, and they can't have any of the other features I mentioned. Now, what I plan on doing is cutting the dust shield off of this so I can put the tie wrap on it to measure the travel of the shock as the car goes around a corner. But for now, I'll show you what I'm up to over there. Okay, so I had to put the rear cage support bars in order to locate this bar. This bar is what I intend on having the shocks mounted to, and my plan was to make shock brackets off of the 4-link bracket and then tabs off of this bar, and this will get mounted somewhere in this range. The tabs here will probably angle down a little bit. And I want the shock to be vertical, both this way and this way. So whatever I need to do there, and then I have plenty of room as far as where do I mount the shock bracket off of the back of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a little fixture to put this well within its range in terms of maximum compression and maximum extension. That is a solid bar, and once I have the width of the eyes, which should be the same top and bottom, then I can use that solid bar with the center distance perfect. Once I get one set of tabs in place, it'll help me land the second set of tabs in place. So the shock is basically going to go somewhere in here, collapsed. The shock bracket will be somewhere in the middle of the 4-link bracket. So I think it'll be very strong and tidy. So that's the plan. So what you didn't see was me notch and install this bar here and the other rear cage support bar that's on the other side. So now I have the foundation basically for the brackets that will eventually receive the shocks. Now it's time to start getting that squared away. Alright, so I just turned these little bushings down on the lathe. This is the proper width for the brackets for the shocks. And then I made a fixture to make a fixture. So this is something that I had started. You can see this hole is for the drag racing installed height of shock, and this is going to be a new position for my modified installed height shock. So I fish mouth this tube, and I'm going to throw a little tack weld on it, and then I will begin to fabricate the brackets and use this as a fixture, and it will stop it from flopping around left and right, and when I tighten up one of the bolts, it'll hold it forward and backwards from pivoting. So, and I can put my digital angle finder on the tube, and I'll know when the shock is vertical. So here we go. Alright, kind of gone as far as I can in terms of mounting the shocks. You saw me make this little fixture. The plan is to have 2 tabs come down at an angle off of this bar, and then attach a rugged bracket to the back side of the 4-link bracket and use this as a fixture to place all that. I went ahead and ordered tabs that are 3/16 thick. They have the half round for the 1 3/4 tubing and a 1/2 inch hole. When those come in, which will be a couple of days, I'll tack weld them in position with a level on this to make sure that it's vertical in both directions, and then I'll tighten it down and it'll hold it there, and then I can use this to fabricate my brackets that will hold the lower shock mount. So as much as I would have loved to make these brackets, I would spend a whole day making them. I shouldn't say a whole day. The amount of time I have to spend in the shop in a day making them, and then I'd be able to go ahead and put these in. So I purchased them. They're relatively inexpensive, and it'll get the job done for me. And then I will have to fabricate the lowers, but I will not be able to fabricate the lowers until I know the distance off the rear end and the overall height. Hopefully you understood that when I made this fixture, this is the position of the installed ride height of the shock, with a little over 3 inches of compression available here. That's all I need, because these blocks holding the rear end at ride height is 3 inches, and I'll get more than enough droop than I need with the shock extension. So that's why I made this long, and that's kind of why I ordered the shocks. I kind of did some eyeball engineering to estimate a shock that I would purchase that had in the center of its travel something around 15.5 inches to 16 inches of center to center distance of installed height, and that's how I ended up with the shocks that I ordered. So this fixture will put them exactly where they need to be. I just need to wait for the brackets to show up. So these are the shock tabs that are going to mount the upper part of the shock at the rear end, and you can never have enough of these kinds of tabs, so I bought 2 packages. So that's it for what's in the package for today. Alright, time to play What's in the Box. We'll open the big one first, because good things come in big boxes, right? Ooh, it's a box inside of a box. Upside down. Engineered cooling products. That's a hint. Let's see what this is all about. Ooh, it's pretty. And this, believe it or not, goes with that. And I'll explain the thought process behind this in a moment. So this is Radiator Black. Now the reason why I bought this is because 2 cans, Eastwood, not sponsored. This is a bright and shiny aluminum radiator. This car never had a bright and shiny aluminum radiator. What it did have is a 55, 56, 57 Chevy radiator that went in the front of the car. So what I'm doing is that paint is designed for aluminum radiators, and it allows heat transfer to take place. So it's not just regular enamel that actually becomes an insulator and prevents heat from transferring. So that is supposed to stop that. I hope it does, because it was very expensive. So let's take this and do a quick mock-up, because I can't wait to see if, first of all, my measurements were correct between the frame rails and what it's going to look like in the car. Oh yeah, that'll work. I'm hoping that once I get this permanently installed, I'll be able to kind of tilt it at an angle a little bit, give it that racy look, and still have room for, sorry for the wild ride there, still have room for a mechanical fan if possible. So obviously I had to buy a radiator that was designed to fit something, and I'm using it to go into something that it was never intended. So some minor modifications to the radiator bracket and the a little C-notch in the frame to make some clearance. The measurements that they provided actually was supposed to be a little narrower than it is, so we'll have to modify the frame slightly. That's okay, because it's getting a whole bunch of reinforcing in this area, because the brackets to hang on to the shocks are going to be integral with the metal bracket that the radiator is going to be bolted to. So anyway, I'm actually kind of excited. It's just another piece that makes the car, you know, that much further along. So all right, let's put this away to keep it safe. And then when we're getting ready to do the final install on this, we'll be good to go. So this is what we're going to end up trying to match. And so far it's looking really close. And I wanted the OEM style tanks rather than just a welded fabricated tank. So that's going to work out, especially when it's got a quick coat of black paint on it. Alright, that's it for now on this, and we're going to jump on to another project. Alright folks, that's going to be it for this one. If you're still with me, obviously you like this sort of thing. Thank you so much for following along with the rebuilding and restoration of the old number 7, otherwise known as the B&J Special. Thanks for watching. Follow along, there's more good stuff to come. We just picked up some more swap meet type parts to get this thing further along. Subscribe, like, please comment below. I'm always encouraged and interested in hearing what your thoughts are and interacting with you. Thanks again. Hit that like button for me, would you please?